been covered. A case of slang and a case of Malta. They gone with that. All the chaser, they gone with that. The coconut water, they gone with that. Me pressure cooker, they gone with that. Me brand new grater, they gone with that. A bottle of Johnny Walker, they gone with that. A bale of toilet paper, they gone with that. 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 A bale of toilet paper. They gone with that. I love para. I love me para. But I don't ever want to see that para. I love para. I love me para. But I don't want to see that teeth in para. While I singing and I dancing and I enjoying the band, them caranderos was walking on a plan, looking round the house to see what they could take. Baseman said the corner in the whole pan of fruitcake. Make us spin cover. Lord, light of my people. Too much of one thing, good for nothing. Too much of good thing, never enough. I don't know why my black people cannot see. No party never care about we. Every election we so devoted. How we love up the PNM. As soon as election come and go, is only problem after problem. How could we cope? Man lost their work. I see no solution. Every time PNM come in power, it takes a toll on black man. I don't want to sound like a racist, but this is what I can see. They just take care of the race, cause they damn well know they have we. I want to ring my bell, wake up Eric Williams. Tell him the party found him, PNM needed immediate attention. Ring my bell, wake up Mother Cornhawk. Tell she to cast a spell on we party, cause it's not what it used to be. Your vote will decide our destiny. Your vote will decide what you want to be. Your vote can foretell our country's fate. Move and use it well before it's too late. If it is that who you're voting, well beyond a doubt. When you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out. If it is they prove it to be only full amount. When you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out. If it is the time is now that change should come about. Just as how you vote them in, vote them out. Register and vote them out. If they don't see, vote them out. Stain your finger and vote them out. Show them no mercy, vote them out. Vote them out with total scorn and utter disdain. Let's put our country together again. Put them out of power, dominate their reign. Let's put our country together again.
Yes, a pleasant good night to all and sundry. It is, of course, the Monday night edition of the Corridor Transformation. Yes, vote them to hell out. They have not only disappointed, they are the quintessential disaster in government. Let me repeat that. Not only have they disappointed, I'm talking, yes, about the PNM and Rowley with his braggadocio, is narcissistic, but clearly incompetent, and of course, inability to manage any damn thing. And therefore, we have a duty and responsibility to do our duty not only to the current generation, not only to the one that is following us immediately, but also to those that are yet to be born. We are therefore on a mission to save Trinidad and Tobago. And to vote them to hell out is the only objective purpose and, of course, resolute position that every single citizen must have, particularly those who have what? The ability or the right to vote. Yes.
Let's put our country together again. Put them out with Calypso.
Yes, indeed, people. Not just Calypso. Vote them out with our index finger. Vote them out so we have a resounding victory at the polls, not for the UNC per se or Kamala Prasad Bisasa, but for the people.
The status quo works for the PNM and their...
Supporting, of course, the only party that can take us out of the morass and the quagmire and the decadence and the destruction and the clearly retrogressive and retrogression that Trinidad and Tobago has experienced over the last 9 years under, of course, a Rowley PNM administration. Let us not waste time. They could try to obfuscate. They could try to give us all the hogwash that we see that they are clearly capable of. We can see them, of course, as they engage in all kinds of deflection. And, of course, the utopia that they promise us in 2015, utopia meaning a good life, a reasonable life, a life with very little misery, at least devoid of the misery that they have put us in over the last 9 years. And instead of utopia, we are now experiencing and have experienced a dystopia. The opposite, of course, of utopia. Let us not waste time. And there's nothing these people can say. Whether they, as one caller this morning, when I used the term, he was only too happy to, of course, in a voice note, to reciprocate. When I mentioned about, of course, the kind of hoodwinking and the kind of deception, verbally that is, quite apart from, of course, talking about cacophonous babblings, talking about, of course, ambulatory utterances that is equal to, of course, an empty vessel making plenty noise. I had to use the term this morning, gobbledygook. Yes, gobbledygook. And of course, I'm sure that he went to his dictionary and realized it is a word in the English dictionary, gobbledygook. And he called back and said, of course, all PNM is about is gobbledygook. Yes, childish, old talk, inordinate, humdrum, nastiness, misogynic, ineffective, destructive, and clearly in a state of total and absolute, not just quagmire, but also in a state of a total and absolute discombobulation, total confusion, Total confusion, people. That is what the Rowley administration has represented over the last 9 years and going into the final year, 2015. So what we must do, vote them to hell out. I think we should go back to that part of the music before, of course, we continue, so that we are clear in our minds that what the population has to do when such individuals have betrayed and have destroyed the expectations of a people that are proud, that are decent, that are good, that are light-hearted, that are calypso in nature. Some say carnival as well. But the fact of the matter is that Rowley and they have thrown not just hot water, but boiling water on all of those hopes and all of those cultural expectations and evolved expressions to what, of course, can only be described as a depressed people. But thank God, there is, of course, an election next year that will settle this matter. And of course, you know, I like to talk about blue lights and silver bracelets for Rowley and his bunch of miscreants. Callous, reckless, brutal, evil, barbaric, insensitive, and self-serving. Let's hear them again.
To be your full amount destiny. Your vote will decide what you want to be. Your vote can foretell our country's fate. Move and use it well before it's too late. If it is that who you're voting, fail beyond a doubt. When you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out. If it is they prove it to be your full amount. When you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out. If it is the time is now that change should come about. Just as how you vote them in, vote them out. Register and vote them out. If they don't see, vote them out. Stain your finger and vote them out. Show them no mercy, vote them out.
The status quo.
16 valuation report that had been prepared by Ernst & Young. So Ernst & Young prepared this valuation report in 2016. It goes on. So this report is prepared by Ernst & Young.
People, we have to establish where our money has gone, where the forex has gone, foreign exchange, and why Trinidad and Tobago is such in such a desperate position, brought on, orchestrated, and choreographed by the Rowley administration because of its incompetence, greed, corruption, nepotism, and cronyism, and of course purporting that to be good governance as they irksomely on various platforms, self-serving and self-aggrandizement, and like a little toddler who is fixated by pulling down a very, very hot cup of water, hot water, very hot, a cup of hot water, fixated. And don't matter what you tell that child, slap him on his hand to his or her to make her understand that that is danger. Rowley and they put Trinidad and Tobago in danger. They have 2020 vision, and as if they are blind, and as if they have on blinders and fixated to do Trinidad and Tobago harm, they go into, of course, arrangements and deals that are inimical to Trinidad and Tobago. Don't tell me you don't know about the Delcy Rodriguez debacle or fiasco. Don't tell me you don't know about the destruction of the sea bridge so as to bring into the system the Cabo Star and the Ocean Flower and of course the Galleon Passage. Don't tell me that. Don't tell me you don't know about the Petrotrin con job. Don't tell me you don't know a fixation for destruction. As the example I would give with that toddler fixated on, of course, pulling down that hot cup of water, and then mommy or daddy just, of course, neglected to take a look, and they found their way and they pulled the cup down. And you know what the results are? Well, it's the same damn thing with Rowley and Day. The result is that, of course, Trinidad and Tobago is, of course, not only not the better for that kind of behavior and conduct by way of mismanagement and deception and, of course, incompetence and criminal behavior and misbehavior in public office. But clearly has generated poverty, agony, pain, and of course upheaval as far as crime and criminality is concerned, equal only to what we see on television in Haiti and Somalia and other war-torn areas of the globe. That is what Rowley and they brought Trinidad and Tobago to. And therefore, we have a duty and responsibility not only to jettison them, not only to expel them, not only to annihilate them, not only to tell them get to hell and get to hence, Satans, but to also let them know in all certainty we won back our money. Where is our money, Rowley? Where is our money, PNM? Where is our money, government? Where is our money, Hines? Where is our money, Imsmert? Where's our money? George Young, where? But as certain as night gives way to day and vice versa, and as constant as the northern star, and as immutable as a scent, blue lights and silver bracelets must, of course, be the order of the day after the 2025 general election. So, not just keep faith, but harden your respective hearts and be fixated just as how they have been fixated to, of course, do us evil and to, of course, lead Trinidad and Tobago into the abyss of destruction. And of course, I'm talking here economic, I'm talking about social, I'm talking about psychological, I'm talking about, of course, the Ministry of Agriculture, I'm talking about the Ministry of Social Development, I'm talking about the Ministry of Community Development, I'm talking about the Ministry of Youth, I'm talking about the Ministry of Sports, I'm talking about the Office of the Attorney General, I am talking about, of course, the Office of the Prime Minister, and of course, I could extend that to the Office of the President of this country. They have corrupt and destroyed. Yes, indeed. And we must therefore, just as them not relent, we must show them that we are built of the effervescence and the dynamism to stay the course. And as Confucius would say, that Chinese philosopher, the longest journey begins with a single step. And we have had many steps over the last nine years of this government. I want to tell you too, there has been more protests against this government in the last 9 years than any other government. And don't tell me you don't believe it. Why? Because they have been, of course, too sparse and too distant apart? Or is it that, or a combination of having a 9 days mentality? Well, let us look, of course, from the Labour front alone, and then you will get an appreciation. Because I don't want to, of course, start with the pushback movement. I don't want to start, of course, with the laying or the presenting of letters to various offices in this country and to be delivered as well. I don't want to start there. I want to start with the fact that, of course, the government had to go, of course, or went to the industrial court to stop teachers from striking. Yes. They had to go to the industrial court to stop, or threaten to go to stop tea and tech workers from striking. Yes. And they are now in a situation where they are threatening, of course, the port workers to go back to work and negotiate why they are using that provision that says that they are essential workers. That is why I ain't talking yet about, of course, the organized marches by the body trade union organizations, whether it be in Palmas and South or whether it be around Port of Spain, in Port of Spain or in the north of the country. I'm not only talking about that. I'm not only talking about, of course, the Scrapyard Dealers Association's march and, of course, other organizations for one purpose or another led by, of course, that Abdul fella. I'm talking about that alone. So therefore you would see that while of course they have been of course at different times and of course organized by different numbers and by different persons, but of course the objective has always been to let the government understand that we are dissatisfied and our disapprobation, our disapproval with their conduct is clearly a matter of national concern. Yes, indeed. So people, so of course, the lines are open. We go to the lines. Don't forget, people, of course, we have our Christmas hamper initiative. We'll put up something in a while. We'll put up something in a while in order, of course, to treat with that. Yes, a pleasant good night. Welcome.
Yes, Mr. Lennox.
Yes.
I listening to you. I listening and I watching all kind of thing with them port workers. I want to see if they will stop protesting. I saw a video with them with placard and thing that looking good. You know?
Even the pilots protested. Even the pilots protested. Of course, they have constraints and they are considered essential services. The government is prepared, of course, to go to the courts. And that is the issue that many may have been skeptical as to why not joining, or the reason for not joining in more massive way. But it has happened. More protests has happened in the last 9 years than any other time and any other administration over the years. Go ahead, my friend.
Yes, so let's talk about this foreign exchange that they're putting in Stuart Young and the bank.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Well, everybody familiar with Stuart Richard Young. That's his second name, Stuart Richard Young.
Yes.
So we will say Stuart family bank, the brother and father bank.
Oh yes, yes. Ordinary bank, no. not known of, and then suddenly it becomes a merchant bank. Suddenly with government dependent on them to meet budgetary requirements over the years by this government. But go ahead.
People need to pay attention. You see, when you don't pay attention in a class, you as a teacher, if you have to teach children to song letters, what is the first thing you will teach them?
Of course, you must teach them the ABC yourself.
The alphabet, yes.
Alphabet,
yeah,
yes,
well, I'm
ABC.
showing you.
Yes.
You have to teach them the alphabet. Then you will teach them to song the consonants with a vowel.
And vowels,
then you will get speech with a word. With a word, you will get speech. And from there, you teach them to form sentences. After that is paragraph. So let's put it together now. Right. Didn't I tell you all that next door it have not foreign exchange, that they use US dollars on the streets everywhere? That is the currency.
Yeah.
I told you all that about 2 years ago or more. That is the currency because their currency going through it
Yeah, it
and
has
have no
collapsed. It has
value.
collapsed. So
I also told you
devaluation
all
has
that they using the
decimated it, yeah.
TT dollar. I also told you all that they use the TT dollar in the eastern part of their country. The eastern part is where they're doing the trade with us. So there's a lot of TT used in there as currency as well.
Yes, you did say that. I
Right?
remember that very distinctly.
All
yes.
right,
Yes.
all right. But all over they use US. A lot of small notes, that is the currency. Because at $10 US is a lot of money for them.
Yeah, because
These people's salary
if you
is
do that,
about
you
the
have to carry
minimum wage.
a barrel of pesos.
It's not
Bolivar.
It's bolivars,
in order
pesos
to buy a
is
bread.
the
You have to carry a barrel.
They're using the Colombian currency in the West.
But Oliver, okay.
Right? Together with US. So, this Stuart Richard Young, he does be going there a lot and he doing business with them, with our country. Their country always needed foreign exchange and need the US dollar because when they sell their fuel or they try to, they sanction so they don't get any monies, everything is banked. And these criminals next door have to live. So when people don't hear, they just have to feel people coming up front and showing something. And it have people sleeping and they're asking questions together with the citizens, where the money going. But when you cut deal with people and you're sharing, right? And their country large and their fuel, all kind of thing large, and the gang man friend is a bad man because he ain't afraid nobody. He just do things boldface and bad. And they have this government like a puppet. This is what we have to go through.
No, you're right. You're quite right. Let me just stick up in there because I was reading something recently where, of course, with the Dragon deal, it's something like 45% of the returns have to go to
but they're
Venezuela.
only dealing with the Dragon.
No, I'm just saying that. I'm just making a point.
I want to lose focus. They're dealing with the Dragon.
I thought you
the
were
only thing
giving
they're
the
doing with the Dragon so far, they're extorting. We have $1 million a year.
Yeah, that's quite apart from that, but 45% they have to get.
Right? Because the next bad man, who is an ex-sanction one and wanted, they're paying $10 million for his capture. He come like Imbuta tell all you, he is the boss. And what he say, the Maduro have to follow. So he won that amount of money for nothing at all, and them getting $1 million US from we a year.
Yes.
Come now, right? They'll be doing business with them with the Laurel Manatee Field. Early o'clock I tell you, old Mark Niquan sign up and they sign. Where the train won. That's all I could report on and tell all you. I don't know about all them thing about them train one too much and thing.
Right.
I could just see what it is I hear them sign for. But all this dealing up and thing with that, Mr. Faizabad could explain. They sign up for some hibiscus platform and the Laurel Manatee Field too. And they're taking out, thing from in that field, the Laurel Manatee Field. And everything is non-disclosure. So, I come into the opposition now, and Mr. David Lee, he had to stop asking them kind of question. He had to come different and jam harder and kind of tell them something, but you're asking a question. So this is how he had to operate. You see this kind of, I want to know? No. You had to tell them, but yet you're asking them. Right?
I hear you. You had to use the correct
money
semantics,
back. Yeah. We want back with money. All them millions of dollars missing, we want back with money. And as the Privy Council asks, why it is Imbut is not investigated, but only the woman is being investigated. I'm talking about the Auditor General.
Yeah.
So all they do is they talk, they talk, but they can't give no harsh punishment to this government here. All they could do is make a verdict and say, give a statement. So we had to look for international help. We don't get that, no form, no fashion, for some kind of help inside of here, dog eat we supper. Time for that lady to use her powers. People getting fed up. I'm listening to all what's going on, all on the ground report. People getting fed up. Have a good night.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. But of course, I want to qualify the fed up that they are getting. They are getting fed up of further fed up of the PNM and the frustration that they are handing down, and they're ready to vote. That is where it is. Not necessarily how the opposition is handling the matter, because it is clear. I just told you about the multiple and manifold historic protests. If you were to do an analysis, you will see that that has been so. If you do an analysis as to the iniquities or the anti-democratic and illegal conduct of this government, you will see no other government have done what the Rowley administration has done in terms of course, misbehavior in public office, abuse of public office, and the misappropriation of funds, programs, initiatives, and policies. Misappropriation. That's what has happened. President, good night. Welcome.
Good night, Lex.
Good night to you.
Comment on the dissident policy talking about this.
I can talk a little louder. Get a difficulty here. Go ahead.
Yeah, Lennox.
Yes.
I see the dissidents and them saying that there is not no time for no pay increase. Maybe it suit them because they wouldn't be collecting any. You know what I say?
Boy, you're coming across a bit muffled. But go ahead. Go over again.
The dissidents.
The dissidents,
right?
Yes, yeah, okay.
Then to them talking on the rate of pay, they say it's not time for that.
Yeah. Ramali is on public record making that statement, yes.
And I see Thanos making trouble down in Siparia, boy. He gonna have the certain mayor ousted. He's bringing corruption allegation against the Man and Freedom of Information Act.
Who's that?
He gone look to remove Meru, boy. Like Thanos, Victor Roberts. Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, he say he gonna have the mayor removed. He want the mayor removed. What can happen up there? I think the UNC gonna look to remove him, because he causing real trouble up there. If you see that whatever thing he bring in there fail, they had to remove that man, because that man.
Well, it's obvious. I mean, he has played one too much, and it's best you leave him in the wilderness rather than staying inside like the Trojan horse and creating unnecessarily what I consider to be upheaval or ruffles that I'm sure is a storm in a teacup.
You go run by the PNM,
it appears that is his intention, yeah.
Yeah, and go across it like a dog eating vomit. It's so stupid. After the PNM had this country upside down, and the Prime Minister coming and saying he not going to more float no money and the value no money. But they done so already. And he's saying the same amount of money since 2014 in the system right now. How much was 7 billion then? It's 7 billion now. And you know what they're trying to do?
Yeah.
They're trying to pigeonhole the people, the population, the people who the normal average Joe like you and me. They say that it's we causing the trouble with appetite for forex to buy stuff outside. He come with some kind of thing, to go watch it, stop people from purchasing stuff outside. And there's only a need to know basis we could get money to do them thing now, because I understand that is what they're drafting out there right now, to stop people from accessing this money in any form or manner unless it's a priority. So that is what they're coming with. All they sit down there, enjoy the limelight, and see all their rights being removed day by day by this wicked PNM government. The food prices, the forex, that ain't matter now. The people's salary. All it mean by that smoke screen and all that is just a smoke screen, a diversionary tactic for the people to go pointing their head in the next direction. Yeah. But you see what's going on in this place, and they doing that sort of nonsense. Anyway, have a good night.
Yes, same to you, my friend. Same to you, my friend. And of course, notice taken. I just want to tell those in studio, please wait until the phone is ringing. There may be a delay on the system itself. So unless the system does not connect to the particular caller, then when you are satisfied, then you would of course engage the handset. All right, yes, we have of course a system that to assist me, rather than having to have two persons on the line at the same time, one on the studio system and one on the handset. They are there to of course say that I am on the system, the studio system, and therefore hold on if you have called on the handset. So let's get it clear. Only when the call clearly is not engaged by the studio phone or the studio system, then of course you turn on the handset, and then of course I will engage the person on the handset. All right, so wait a little while for to see whether or not it comes on the studio. And if not, well then of course we engage on the handset. All right, so this is one case where we have to engage. Pleasant good night. Pleasant good night. Yeah, I'm missing my volume. Yeah, good night.
Good night.
Yeah, good night.
I just listen to all you.
Yes.
Well, you're doing a very, very good job.
Thank you very much.
What I want to say is, this Rowley and his government, they said that when they was campaigning, they said they will not close the gate program. Right?
Right.
Right. My grandson wasn't that. He was a second-year medical student. Yeah, and from third year, no student was getting the education that Manning had put the gate program.
Yes.
For medicine. Right. And you can turn Kapuna. You go anywhere with crying. From 3 years, the parents send them to study. Until they finished second year. And they could not afford because Lowry and his government stopped the gate program when they went there. And he campaigned, he will not stop it, Camera will stop it. And plenty of those children never went back again. My grandson was in it too. My grandson. Yeah. He was begging Charan, all in Tunapuna to see them, 5, 6 of them, to finish their education. But that was plenty money. They couldn't do that for them.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Yeah. But we had got people to stand as security for my grandson. God help we. And so he happened to finish third year, and then they stand security again. And so, because we poor people, you know?
Yes.
That is what this wicked Rowley do. And that TNM government, they stop the food in school. They stop the laptop. They stop the $500 for babies. It's nasty Rowley. What's wrong with these TNM people? What's wrong with these people that say they will vote TNM? Imagine this nasty man taking taxpayers' money to pay himself and pay his TNM government. And I don't know if you could remember he saying, pensioners is a burden on him.
Yes, I am not I will not be averse. Yes, yes.
Right.
You did say that.
And
Yeah.
on
You
the
did say that.
PNM program,
Yes.
on the PNM program, what did it have? Those Jackie elderly setting in, calling in, and praising Rowley and the PNM government. Eh? They get $1 more on the pension.
Yes. Yes.
There's a burden on me, but it's taxpayers' money. And what the elderly work and pay taxes for, that paying he. A taxpayer elderly was a burden on me. You can remember that?
Yes, definite. Yeah, and that's why they want to increase the age of pension to a higher, 5 years more before you could get your pension. Yes.
Right. That is a tell you how Rowley and that PNM government that be. I won't understand how people could say they will to vote PNM. I can't understand it. No, and the house tax we're charging for. This tax we're saying you have to pay house tax. That is the money they want to pay themselves.
Yeah, taxing people to destruction, self-destruction, yeah.
They want to raise the salary, so they want people to pay house tax. So poor people have to pay house tax to pay them salary.
Boy.
Thanks very much, Ollie.
Thank you. Thank you, of course. I think I could take the privilege to call you Granny, if I don't mind. You don't mind? All right. I'm sure she doesn't mind if I call her senior citizen or Granny, because I think from the voice alone you would get an appreciation as to what part of the demographics of Trinidad and Tobago she belongs, and clearly she meaning that what agenda as well. Of course, she raised a very significant point on the question of the assistance for students at the tertiary level. I remembered very distinctly that when Kamala Prasad Bisesa was talking about putting a UWI faculty of law in particular down in the Bay, Rowley was stridently opposed. And it would have sounded reasonable, plausible at the time for his, of course, disagreement or opposition, because he said that here it is, we have a University of Trinidad and Tobago, but the University of the West Indies is a regional institution, tertiary institution, and therefore Kamala Prasad Bisesa, and in other words, if it was him, he would have focused, of course, on developing our indigenous university, something like that of the St. George's University, or that which exists in other Caribbean countries that have a university in their own name. I want to show you how dangerous Rowley is, even in those circumstances, because there are two things raised by this senior citizen that shows that she is really abreast with what is happening, and that she's conscious, and therefore you out there who may be younger or who may of course be middle-aged, but of course similarly challenged by the madness that is the Rowley administration, you ought to know. So he said he would prefer that Kamala Prasad Bisesa focus on the Trinidad and Tobago University rather than that of UWI. You know, the man come into office and start to slash and burn and cut and reduce, of course, scholarships and or bursaries to go to the university. Yeah. The assistants have been whittled down, downgraded, eroded. But that was the man who said that you must promote your own and of course forget the University of the West Indies. And mind you, lest you forget, people, lest you forget. Now that he is in government, he is so damn deceptive and so damn evil and so backward, or put another way, so conniving and so deceptive, that now they have decided to change the name of the Children's Hospital in Cuba, and wanting, of course, to inaugurate or to initiate regular services in that particular facility. That nasty, wicked, dangerous, evil, diabolical man says now that he wants an arrangement with the University of the West Indies. What do you think of that? On a platform in Diego Martin, he was strident, and he was belligerent almost, and he was pro the Trinidad and Tobago University. It is indigenous. Why Kamala and them want to put, of course, a debate campus, and of course, naming it after the University of the West Indies? Because this is a university that accommodates all West Indians. English, in the English-speaking Caribbean, of course. But when he comes into office, not only has he reduced and emasculate and downgrade and erode and, of course, render on the back burner the University of Trinidad and Tobago, cutting out certain departments. And of course, as I said, scholarships and bursaries reduced exponentially. He then, of course, sees the Children's Hospital, rename it, of course, the Cuba Hospital, whatever it is, and then say that it will be administered by the medical faculty of the University of what? Of the West Indies. Not of Trinidad and Tobago, you know. Of the West Indies. And of course, his argument, I want to accept. And in the spirit of transparency and accountability, his argument on that occasion is that, listen, we have some money to pay to them, and so we'll try to generate a set-off. That is irrelevant, Rowley. You are not a man of your word. Your word means nothing. And nothing it is to the population of Trinidad and Tobago, because you have lied upon lies, so much so that you are so absent-minded as far as your lies are concerned. You then, of course, forgot that you told a lie about a particular situation in the past, and then you come and said another lie on top of that lie. And, of course, there are ample examples, such as, of course, the various reasons for closing down Petrotrin. So we understand that. But I want to tell the senior citizen who called, and therefore to share with you, the ordinary person who are listening at this point in time. Not only was he, of course, dishonest in terms of his position, twice out of government and trying to get into government, and now in government, and you've seen a contradiction. Not only that, but I want to tell you too, for the first time you may be hearing this, that it was Rowley who said that in the Indian community, their success academically and entering tertiary education, they were either faking their certificates, or they had friends in the various institutions, the University of the West Indies notwithstanding, to get into those universities. Let me repeat. It was Rowley who said that those persons of Indian descent who have been outstripping and outperforming the African community as far as academics is concerned and going on to tertiary education at the university level, they are either faking their certificates or that they have friends in the university that will of course engage in their matriculation, in their entering the university, matriculate. And I want to also tell you that is a direct result of course, a self-fulfilling, what I consider to be evil disposition, self-fulfilling evil disposition that caused them, I have no doubt in my mind, to stop printing or making public the C exam results. Why? You see, he wants, of course, to manifest his illusion, his pernicious illusion, that somehow the Indians are faking their certificates and that therefore they are getting into the university, leaving, of course, they are probably more qualified and brighter African counterparts out of the system, and the Indians will eventually get the best work, the best jobs, etc., in order, of course, to advance themselves in the society. I want to tell you that this man is an evil man. This man is a wicked man, and this man is reckless and brutal, savage, and of course, barbaric to the hilt. He stopped printing the results of the C exam. It's not because people that it's causing anxiety or embarrassment to the families, parents, and students that would have sat the exam. No, because anybody would want to know what they did, and therefore printing these information is of benefit, more so since attention is paid probably to the first three in the overall exam. Printing these names will also let those persons who either have a second chance or those who are to come look what you have to do in order to top the C results. That is the motivation. How else you get motivation? The persons who would have topped the C, the first 3 or 4 that is recognized by the ministry and the government and the nation, they will gladly say what they did in order to succeed. And therefore they are exemplars and persons who you can follow in order, of course, to pattern from them, so that you too, if you are lacking one of the qualities that they would have espoused, then you could, of course, embrace it and so, of course, be as successful as they have been. But no, Rowley is not of that. Rowley understands that the blatant and unadulterated lie that he told, that Indians are faking their certificates and that they have friends in the university and that's why they are getting in, the results of the C, the natural results of the C would show a contradiction or a contrary disposition, and the outcome is so ironic to what he is saying that clearly anybody with a modicum of common sense, and you don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand, you don't have to be Einstein to understand, that is a blatant lie, and therefore what he wants to do is to cover up the lie, because it is clear. Because if the first 100 in the C exam are Indians, Hari, Maharaj, etc., etc., the first 100 are names that are of Indian origin, How the hell you could conclude, Rowley? How you could tell a population that is extremely intelligent and smart, you may be able to fool them once or twice because of the position that you hold, but certainly no longer. How the hell you could tell them that those persons who are entering university and their names are Mirage and Hari Narayan and Hari Nanan and all of that and Nanan, etc. How the hell they will not be qualified to enter university, Rowley? You tell us. You dog of a human being. A despicable specimen of inhumanity. So you mash up the motivational element of course, publicizing or publishing those names so that persons who may not be able or don't have an idea as to what to do in order, of course, to top the C exam, you have taken away that opportunity from them, because human beings are what? Are creatures of habits. And therefore they develop, they learn habits, and they will of course adjust and adapt as the parents would know what that parent did with that child that would have topped the C exam, whether it be they study hard, whether of course they have a particular program, whether they had extra studies, whether of course there's a member of the family that was able to coach and to assist that particular student so that they end up on the top of the class. All of that would have been learned. And of course you have done a disservice to the African community, who of course are badly in need of guidance and of course that kind of understanding so that they too can perform at every level, not only at the C level. Probably you are a consummate dog. You are evil, you are destructive, and you are the bane of Trinidad and Tobago, and of course the evil that lurks within the African community. Hold your tail. That is what you have done, simply because you want to manifest by sleight of hand, by your position as Prime Minister and control of the various mechanisms and ministries, including the Ministry of Education, to show that you are right. You want to manufacture that you are right. You damn fool. You know that can't last. Ability is ability, brother. Rowley and the government, ability is ability. So whether you're trying to hide by, of course, the information from the African community who would have lost the opportunity as to understand why it is that they may be behind, or put another way, they will get an opportunity, of course, to see how they can advance themselves by emulating what, of course, the parents and the student who would have come at the top of the C exam did in order for them to excel and advance. But no, because Rowley said that the Indians are faking their certificate, their degrees, and of course getting special treatment in order for them to get into the university, he realized that it will be an impossibility if at the C level they are dominating the first 100 in the C exam. That is what. And don't tell me you don't understand what I'm talking about, because the entire cabinet was made to, of course, protect Rowley, so they believe. Because his name was called, of course, in the Fecal matter, they decided, of course, to do what? To protect Rowley at our expense. And today, we do not have the availability of foreign exchange because they closed down Petrotrin, because Rowley name is being called in, of course, the Fecal matter, and they therefore engaged by one fell swoop. They engage in the perversion of the course of criminal justice. Rowley should have been before the blasted criminal courts today. Same thing. Manipulated the position that they would have had. Misbehavior in public office, in other words. Abuse of office, in other words. Corruption and nepotism, in other words. And don't tell me you don't understand what I am talking about. So I want to thank Granny. I want to thank, of course, that senior citizen for embracing that point. It's a self-fulfilling, evil fantasy, lies and deception to keep the African community believing in the nonsense that Rowley would have spoken about the Indian community faking their certificate or their degrees, and of course getting friends to matriculate them into university. Hold your tail. And what you have done, you stop, of course, publishing the names, because the first 100 names at minimum would be Harry Lal, Maraj, etc. And you don't want that, because the Africans would have seen and understood that you were telling them a blatant and blasted lie. Well, I want to tell you that in spite of that, the same names are topping the blasted C exams. You could say what you want. We have a duty and responsibility to expose your tail. Pleasant good night. Welcome.
Yes, Mr. Lennox.
Yes, go ahead.
I now remember something you was talking about, I believe, Saturday night.
Yes.
And that is sedition.
Yes.
Right, so let's talk about this sedition. That ain't supposed to be in our law anymore. People hear that and they don't understand why we're not supposed to be using that law. They can't charge nobody for sedition. You see how they charge that man they call Christmas list?
Yeah.
They're trying to see what else they could put on him. I think they throw some other charges on him. But you see, sedition, that story done long time. They're not supposed to have that on any books. No, that ain't no law. That dead. Because they join a charter, right? The Inter-American Charter. And you see that is what they're not explaining to the people, right? Lawyers supposed to explain that we're not to carry out that law anymore. So that dead, anyhow you take it as dead, it can't work. It cannot work as far as I understand with that Inter-American Charter. People have rights with freedom of speech. Again, we joined that organization in 1962. Eric William explained to the citizens what is democracy, right? Freedom of movement, freedom of speech. Therefore, they cannot tell people you're doing the seditious act. But if you tell people to go to protest, once it's a peaceful protest, you can't tell people go and riot, go and pelt stone. No. Go and jump the wall and deal with them, and still it's freedom of speech. You dig it? That law is not supposed to be. They could have it done 99 times. The Inter-American Charter, that law is blows. You quote that and it's blows for them. Also, look at when they charge Abu Bakr. They give him a sedition charge. And what happened with that case, Lennox Smith?
It was dismissed.
Exactly. They know they're only trying something. That's how they're trying a thing where they don't want workers to protest. So before they had to come with now and say there's essential workers. In other countries in the regions, essential workers does protest. But you see, he tell himself that everybody's stupid inside of here. So I talking this now. You hear? They wouldn't like me. If I want in the chat, she don't like me. She put in thing how she feel to put it when I talk about security and them bank.
Yeah. You
yeah, she put in it.
Yeah.
No, I'm just showing you. I ain't calling name. I don't already call people name too much. I'm just showing you something.
Yes.
Right? They will place it how they want. But they can't tie me up. I say security and them bank. I didn't say the bank is Stuart Young Bank.
Yeah.
Right? So what I'm saying is, how I talk in here, this is freedom of speech. People have the right to protest. They could protest You're not protesting with violence. I am not saying to go and protest or riot. I always say protest with placards. We want the world to see certain things, the region. That is the way to get them out, and they can't take that. So they're not comfortable with all these strong protests coming out right now.
Yeah.
And I'm asking the supporters of the UNC, some activists, it have several activists, stop the talking, gather and have some kind of protest. The UNC supporters, voters, they have to keep nailing that in people's head, because they just forget in 9 days, some just forget in 2 days. It have who to understand, so you have to keep saying it and explain it in different ways so they will understand. Right? We have rights. And when they want to jam, we have the opposition who is our voice, and to protect us, they have to handle it with diplomacy, because we don't want no rioting. We don't want dunce people who not educated to get crazy inside of here and do all kind of thing. People getting frustrated, and it could lead to that. So when we go out there protest, people just boast how much lawyers it have in there. Well, these lawyers need to explain properly to the citizens, and don't just say you have rights to protest. Quote the inter-American law, that OAS charter, let them know. And I find them LBGT and them know their rights more than we. The man they kill, I get to understand he fight hard.
He got some legal victories.
LBGT people, and they didn't like him.
Yeah.
You understand? Is he fight? So them kind of alphabet people, they know their rights, and the right is in the Inter-American Charter, the OAS.
Yeah.
Right?
All right.
So I go forward.
Thank you very much. There's another caller that was there, but I thought I should give her as much time as possible. Caller, call back. I'm not getting it on the system itself, and I wonder why. Is it that the new system that we have created is so efficient that all the calls come in on the handset? I doubt it. But let's see how it works. I've asked them to hold on, wait until there's a reasonable ring to see if it will come on the system that we have set up, so we could talk directly to you as opposed to indirectly on the handset, which of course, whichever way we'll take it. Let me just tie up that before I go to the sedition issue that the last caller, of course, spoke about. Don't forget, people, of course, I have solicited assistance tonight and right through until Christmas. So please, of course, I want to say happy birthday to Angelina, of course, Ramcharan, yes. Angelina Ramcharan, happy birthday to you. I wish you many, many, many more, and may the good Lord bless you as you celebrate, and of course in the future celebrate many, many, many more. Don't forget, of course, our hamper distribution initiative. Call the same number, and of course my assistant would be only too willing and able to, of course, take your information for your gracious assistance. After all, this is the time of giving, and of course, obviously, there's a time for receiving. But the least that are among us. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Yes, good night again.
Yes.
You was talking about the DV campus, right?
Yeah.
The PNM shut that down and make it a ghost town. Let me go through some other things. There was an initiative by the minister in the tertiary education from cutting key to flying plane. Remember that one?
Yes, yes.
Where they were teaching youths to be able to fly planes to become pilots. They shut down that too.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
The initiative by the Kuwa Hospital, the Children's Hospital, in which they were going to perform live saving surgeries there. So you wouldn't have to go and have no curriculum.
Yeah, at least some of them, yeah.
fail.
So you don't have to go for almost everything. But
Right, that's
it's
shut
ultra
down.
modern. The equipment was gutted out of there by this government, and then they claim subsequently that they met nothing there. I mean, this is a bunch of criminals. Go ahead.
And furthermore, the laptop initiative for these children and them who was
Yes.
going to school, that was a benefit to a lot of children who got it.
Oh
there
yes, huge,
under the
huge,
tenantship,
massive,
right?
massive, especially in the poor
And yeah.
quarters of this country. Yeah.
And what Dr. Rowley said when that was being proposed and given out, the children going to sit down and watch porn.
Porn, yeah, porn,
That
and
was
playing
it.
games.
That way he said that was going to his invented mind.
Today he is trying to give them it back. Of course, you have to have a means test, but he's trying to give them it back, and totally silent on whether or not the same porn, the same students, and the same games that these devices could be put to use for or to. I mean, this man is simply a criminal-minded, evil, diabolical,
Yes.
injurious, and of course, I mean, dishonest individual to the core. Quite apart, of course, from being a pedophile and a rapist. I suppose that is why. But go ahead.
That is the kind of sickness that go through people's
Yeah, the man is sick.
mind when
Yes,
they
a
have no
total
vision.
predator.
He caused these children between 2020 to now, right? To fall back a long way, because of that,
Yeah.
And
You
that
have
been
carried back the
implemented
education
there.
system itself.
Yeah.
More than 10 years. Yeah. Having regard to what they would have achieved under the Kamala Prasad Bisesa and was expected to continue to achieve. Well, they have, so it's 15 years, you could say, minimum. The maximum could be much more than that. The damage, that is, but go ahead. Yeah.
You see, that's in some of the exam results, because I told you, Guyana top the second Cape results, not Trinidad anymore,
Yes.
They took it over.
And they have less than 100,000 people.
So look at that. And you see, Dolly and all of them responsible for the fallout in education. You know what happened in St. George's College now? They have a sewer problem, So she said it could take 3-4 days to fix that. So when they was fixing up everything in the school, they didn't check up on that too?
No,
Not too long
that's
ago
St. George's for the additional
Yeah.
contracted
Yeah.
work that they have to do there. When the minister came both with a script saying that 10 million was spent, and the site still look as a construction site. I mean, these people are total dunderheads.
And that school never flooded before, Lennox. So all the drains around the school,
Yeah.
they didn't look to clean those drains either. And hence the reason why the school flooded. And she said that is not part of the problem. Now
Okay.
the rain caused that. And I said, I mean, is square peg and round hole. She just like other than the rest of them,
Yeah, I mean,
Just like the rest of them.
is abusers of opportunity in the public's interest, The abusers. I mean, I never felt that in my lifetime would see such a dismal and, of course, abyss of decadence and incompetence and criminal behavior and corruption and nepotism and cronyism and, of course, lost people in the highest offices in this country. Typical, of course, of what the Bible said. Evil forces in high places. That is the Rowley administration. You have to just look at Balize House and understand that.
And like I say, everything for them is a means test, because anybody trying to access that Terran iPhone, they had to go through means test.
Yeah,
Just
means
like how they had to
test,
go through
means
means
test,
test for
right
everything
through.
else for computer and
Yeah.
things. So,
But
you know,
it is
people-
clear that those who they prefer and rather and well connected to the PNM, because that is why they reduce, of course, the 400 open scholarships to just 100, and then place that entire thing, which of course happened before, in the Ministry of Education, so that their people can continue, of course, to promote what is clearly mediocrity rather than meritocracy, and therefore Trinidad and Tobago is doomed to fail if, of course, that kind of inappropriate policy position and the abuse of our resources, financial, is used in that manner to prop up evil government. Them had to be mad.
I will never forget two of the instances of children who died under that children life fund. And the one, a boy who had cancer in the arm, and they tell the parents that is not a life-threatening sickness, right?
Yes.
They tell the boy going to amputate the hand. They amputate the arm, right? They didn't want to do it, but they amputate the arm. You know the cancer spread and kill the boy still? And the next one was a little baby. The child was sick, and the parents petitioned the children life fund for the money. They dilly-dally. And you know, when they send the approve the thing for the child, the day the child dead, somebody send the paper and call the parents and tell them the funding approved when they find out the child done dead. They do that for spite on that particular day, right? Because they know the child dead, so they let's fast track that on Sunday to make it look like they were doing something. But they leave the people child dead, a toddler.
Wow. And there were a number of instances. I remember when the lawyer that was charged with Alan Ramdeen was pursuing a particular course of action. I don't think that they got through because they said that it was a chronic disease or something of that effect. It wasn't life-threatening or something to that effect, or it wasn't immediate. It wasn't sufficiently, should I say, critical for assistance. I mean, as Kabla, I think, would have said, they're trying to play God. They must determine who must live and who must live. The assassins and a bunch of asses that have, of course, for evil reasons, have, of course, found themselves in honorable offices. These dishonorable son of a guns.
All
right then, bye-bye. I need some more volume on that. Yes, indeed, people, of course. So, I would have concluded that the whole question, before I go to this sedition, because what I really want to talk about tonight is the politics at the level of the Lavatil and so on, which of course I'll do tomorrow night. I think these other issues would have, should I say, supplanted what I wanted to say. But let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night to welcome to the corridor.
Hey, Lennox.
Hey.
You hear me good?
Yeah, loud and clear, my friend.
All right, I put on this because I like to travel and see.
Yeah, you're clear. I heard everything now. Yeah.
Good. I hear quote the Bible just now.
Yes.
And you know, there's always say the Bible say, you will have eyes and cannot see.
Yes.
And ears and cannot hear. But then you already pay them.
Yeah.
All of them, including Rowdy.
Yeah.
And when you show them later night, well, a man could go to that extent to fool your own people. He's really a wicked man.
Yeah, betray your own people. I mean that is a measure of how dangerous this man is, how toxic he is, and how belligerent against his own kind, just to stay in that office called office of Prime Minister. And it was clear when he authored his biography from Mason Hall to Whitehall, when Whitehall wasn't even existing at the time of him becoming Prime Minister. It shows the kind of conmanship that he is subjected to and is prepared, of course, to execute, and of course have extended that to the people in a vicious and evil and, I mean, unsavory manner that I don't think history will think kindly of him at the end of the day, because blue lights and silver bracelets must be his final destiny. But go ahead, my friend.
Yeah, but they can't have much education. None of them, because look how they're trying to keep back their own people.
Yeah, his own people, he's trying to keep them back. And bring in bursaries and mash up open scholarship for selected for the ministry to select, or the minister to select, or some committee that they set up to select, so that those who they prefer and rather could, of course, get the jobs that they will provide, stay in office, and continue, of course, to destroy Trinidad and Tobago by, of course, not meritocracy, but by a lower than expected standard of education, behavior, and conduct and administration.
Yeah, imagine they reduce the scholarships and all this thing.
Yeah.
Very well wicked is
It's clear, yes, clear, it is clear. To do what, Rowley? Why you so wicked to Trinidad and Tobago? Why you hate Trinidad and Tobago? So I said Trinidad and Tobago because Tobagonians already recognize that and they jettison your tail. Trinidad is to do the likewise in the appropriate time next year. Of course, they will get the opportunity so to do. You are a total failure. You are a curse, and therefore you must understand that. And if you don't understand, and then we must make you understand, and that understanding must accompany. It must be congruent with, of course, you getting out of office, and of course, blue lights and silver bracelet must now await you and accompany you.
When you show him tonight how African children, once they see Indians excelling, they will try to be like them.
Of course, that's what I thought. I thought they will be the exemplars, how it is done, because in the 60s and the early 70s, the best and the brightest doctor would have been an African. The best and the brightest a lawyer would have been African. I remember in his Will's days, and of course Theodore Guerra, in the case of Dr. that fellow who of course organized the blood bank and all of that. I mean, and here it is today. Rowley is of course institutionalizing mediocrity. I mean, that is a dangerous thing for not just the African community, but certainly the country as a whole. This man hates Trinidad and Tobago as a nation and as a physical space, as a geographic space. It's obvious.
It's like in the old days, Lennox.
Yeah.
Charlie Jones was the top jockey. You know that?
Yes, yes.
And all the jockeys, everybody had their own style of riding.
Yes.
But they all recognized Charlie was the boss.
Yes.
And they would endeavor to be like Charlie Jones.
Yeah.
But this man, boy, God, when you talking tonight, I hope people listen. And the old lady will call you tonight and talk. She see what Rowley doing.
Yes, the senior citizen. I mean, yes. So I was able, of course, to expatiate on that. I thought it was a wonderful talking point from which, of course, to get into all of these educational transformatory. If it continues like this, of course, you can't transform. But education is supposed to be transformatory, and it's supposed, of course, to enlighten and to move our country forward, and of course, personally, to emancipate people.
If I'm not mistaken, that lady from Takarigo,
Yes.
She used to call all the go report.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
And tell you how she know how to move on Rowley and them.
Yes.
But only I think all the ladies, how educated that lady is.
Oh yeah, very much so, and very aware, because she's song, and I don't want to guess her age, but you know the voice will give an indication as to how far she is in terms of her biological, chronological stay on Earth so far. But sticking there, Granny, we need to get more of that after Kamala and they win the election. Yeah. Yeah.
Remember the Ukma president Waiko called E-Tech Park or something, so?
Yes.
If it was to be a tourist attraction?
Yes.
After that?
It has failed as well. I mean, the accident. It has gone the way of Sandals, gone the way of the Sea Bridge in the early days, gone the way of the so-called highway to Point 14, gone the way of the so-called highway to eventually nowhere to Manzanilla, and we can identify so many points, except of course that Barize's house has suddenly got a new lease on life by, of course, clearly stolen monies, blood money that Rowley would have institutionalized, he and his bunch of administrative quacks.
As you call Manzanilla my favorite beach.
Yes.
That rat foot, where they call one till that.
Yes.
Or we do not be able to, I really mash up all the pipeline and them.
Yeah, they simply don't know what they're doing. A bunch of rapscallions and near the walls.
And I say that everything back to Roman on the port, but you go mad on it. I see everybody put their sense in and he said that
they're going to destroy, and they're being destroyed internally because the PNM itself is imploding, and they themselves are exploding because there simply are no use to Trinidad and Tobago. And as my mother would say,
to talk about the trade
yeah,
union
people
agreement.
mouth water fall on them. Go ahead.
He talking about trade union agreement. What do you know about that? Would you hear that thing talk on that one? I don't know about that. You better have memorandum of agreement.
Yeah, that agreement was fashioned during the UNC when KDs was the minister responsible for the port. And what they are saying, their nebulous, superficial, tenuous argument, nonsensical argument is that since the CPO was not involved, then it cannot stand. Well, I want to tell these asses that the CPO wasn't involved when Imbert announced a 5% increase for public servants. That's all.
Right.
That's all. Ask like them. They try to play smart with foolishness. They are dumbfounded, and therefore they should be relegated to the dustbin of political history in this country. All of them.
You answer that in my name is going to call a rat spooch.
Yeah.
A rat spooch. I won't call
a
it
rat spooch. Okay, yeah. That's sounding like is in Hindi.
Rat spooch.
Yeah, okay.
No, that was we talked about the government, and he's supposed to know that.
Okay. And
rat spooch.
Rat spooch. Okay. I'll check it out to see if it's a term.
I don't know what it was, but
that has been recorded in the dictionary. All right. Okay. Yeah.
You can talk, Lennox.
Okay then. Bye. Thanks very much.
You
Of course.
go tonight?
Yeah. Huh?
All right. You go to all right.
You going to what?
Huh?
Where you ask me?
You ever go tonight?
Yeah. Very good. Yes, my friend. Thanks. Yes. Of course. The caller that was calling at the same time, please call back. I don't know. Let me check to see if the phone on the system in studio is up and operating. Let me see. Wait now. I'm not seeing it now. So it could be that is the problem. Let me just engage it. All right. So those of you who were trying to get me on, all right. Okay. So, all right. Good. So let me see if the next call will come directly to me on the system. Otherwise, of course, calls that may have to wait. My assistant will, of course, direct you accordingly in terms of waiting in line. Yes, so let me just conclude the whole issue of Rowley's, again, this deception and his propensity for being dishonest, and of course his mythomaniatic disposition, where of course he seemed to be a spontaneous liar only for office. So here it is that he caused the African community to believe that the Indians are faking their certificates, etc., and getting to university because they have money. In other words, now that he is in office, the Indians continue, of course, to dominate the C exam, knowing full well that if they are successful at C, how the hell they would not be successful at matriculation at the university level. So he recognizing that what he has done is, of course, trying to generate a self-fulfilling, what I say, evil fantasy by, of course, discontinuing public knowledge, printing and broadcasting of those persons who would have done well in the exam. I think it's the first 50 or 100 or so, and since they would have been dominated by Indian-oriented name, Indian heritage name, he decided, of course, to stop it. It has to be that. And I want the African people to understand that Rowley has done no service to you. He has done you a disservice. Because if it's me, I would want to know what caused that child to succeed, even though the exam in terms of the top 10, the top 50, the top 100 would have been of Indian descent. Because as I said at one time, the top student came from Fatima, CIC, etc., African-dominated, should I say, catchment areas In other words, the East-West corridor. Today, even the schools that are producing the best or the top talent or the top academics in the country have now moved to Central and South. We must know something is wrong and what has gone wrong. But instead of doing that, we're only trying to camouflage and, of course, bullshit the people. Yes, I don't want to use the word BS. Bullshit the people. I told that, but not in those words, of course. I was a little more what I consider to be courteous in terms of my vocabulary selection. But I was angry, nonetheless, when Hazel Manning, in a meeting with, of course, Archbishop Burke and myself and the late Mother Randu, and she said, look where them people build them schools and them, referring, of course, to the Beach High School and that in other parts of the country, but was not served by schools. And I had to turn and tell her, Madam, I disagree with you, Hazel Manning, because there are more schools per capita community along the East-West corridor than anywhere else in the country. Why would you focus on those schools that are in need of service by way of the education system, when, of course, you should be focusing as to why the African community along the East-West corridor, where they dominate, are not making use of the educational opportunity, even though they have more schools per community than anywhere else in the country. We must understand these facts and not waste time with these opportunistic political parasites. And especially in these times when, of course, we need the best talent and we need our young people to concentrate, whether they are from Beetham, whether they are from Silots, whether they are from East Port of Spain, whether they are from Laventille, whether they are from Morvan, whether they are from Woodbrook, whether they are from any one of the communities along the East-West corridor, where, of course, it is expected that they will fail. It is the expectation. Let us not waste time. We have to find a mechanism. We have to find a formula to, of course, make these children understand that they have the same brain, they have the same material, and they are built the same way as every other human, and therefore the only difference is their socio-economic and psycho-cultural disposition that has been, of course, fashioned and shaped by the PNM, and because the PNM was in office for too damn long, they have, of course, sacrificed our children, their education, and their ability, of course, to advance and get out of the poverty and the quagmire that they have found themselves in at this time in Trinidad and Tobago. And Rowley is no benefit to them. He cannot and has not, even though with all the resources of the country at his disposal, are talking about the financial resources in the central bank that he met, and he has not been able to move the African community out of this destitute scenario. Let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night to welcome to the corridor.
Yes, hello, good night.
Good night.
This is San Fernando, yeah.
Hey, San Fernando.
Boy, I don't know, but what, I mean, you're talking education tonight.
Yes.
Right? And I think I've always been telling you that, the Minister of Education, all of them should have go. What is really Dr. Rowley trying to do? After I listened to that lady who talked tonight about her grandson.
Yes.
Right? And listening to what you say in here now, right? I mean, the thing is, I mean, it's hurtful. What is he trying to do to Trinidad? I can't understand it. And then too,
yeah,
today,
caller, hold on. Have
right?
Mr. San Fernando online. So just hold on, please.
Okay, no problem.
Yes. Yeah, go ahead, Mr. San
Too,
Fernando.
let me tell you something. What made my day a little bad to it, because this morning I get up with a headache.
Yeah.
Right? But then I get more headache and I vomit by 11 o'clock, because by the time 10 to 11 o'clock or somewhere around there,
yeah,
I'm listening to a radio program, and some of these people on the airwaves defending Dr. Rowley and the nonsense.
Wow. Wow, that is still possible at this time?
Wow.
But go ahead, my friend. Go ahead. As amazing as
what
it is.
is going on with people in Trinidad. You understand? One man talking about education and how Dr. Rowley, you know, Kamlaka touched Dr. Rowley in terms of the education that Dr. Rowley have and all kind of nonsense. People talking anyway.
A rock scientist and his rock policies.
I can't understand it, Mr. Lennox.
Yeah, well, remember, I gave the experience I had in Form 3 when somebody told me that Aquila was the third brightest man in the world. I said, well, I want to see this man. Of course, when the actor wanted to ask him, I said, one simple question, who is my mother name since you're so bright? Yeah. Make a mockery of his name. And in Form 3, so you will understand my position today. That these people haven't been educated. And educated in understanding them, you know that they are fake.
I mean,
bunch of fakes.
When Dr. Rowley says or that the Indian community or people, right, buy out the certificates. That's what you mean, right?
Repeat that again, that part, because I want to make sure I get every syllable.
Huh?
Repeat that, Lemire.
The statement that Dr. Rowley made concerning the Indians in terms of the certificates.
Yeah.
Right? That the Indian people are not
capable. They're not capable.
They're not capable.
It is artificial. Is not the real deal. But only have the real deal. But at the level of C, it's only Indian names they hear in the first 100.
So all that nonsense Dr. Rowley talk about the email gate, right?
Yeah.
Where did he get his doctorate?
He believes that he's special. He's an elitist. He figured he could talk that nonsense, that hogwash, that piece of disinformation and total lack of reality. And mind you, on a Emancipation Day, he said that he is disappointed with the Africans, still, on top of all of that, and saying that they are the lowest rung of the social ladder. Yet still he's orchestrating a mechanism to promote, of course, mediocrity by reducing considerably open scholarship. He don't want them to compete. He put it in the Ministry of Education, and they must hand select those persons who would not be able to qualify in order to, of course, manage the affairs moving forward, Trinidad and Tobago. You see them institutionalizing disaster for the country.
Let me just go through something here.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'm an artist, right?
Yeah.
So I had to work very hard to be the at least
and to be the top in a field.
In the field that I am. So therefore, I have to come with standards.
That's right.
And if I can't come with standards,
the
business will suffer. I will suffer. Right? Every time I'm producing mediocrity, people
institutionalizing mediocrity, and he's comfortable with that. He's comfortable with that.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Yeah. It's a special place in hell for them. But another person is on the line, if you don't mind. You have another item you want to talk about?
Well, I want to talk and say what I say, but I understand what you're telling me that another person is here. But okay, all right. But call back and
call back. That's bad. Because the caller seems to be impatient and they're making a bit of noise on the line. Go ahead, caller, because you're making a lot of noise.
No, I wasn't making a noise on the line, Mr. Lennox. The caller can continue.
All right, because I was saying a noise from your device, so I don't know where. Yeah, so I didn't want to, of course, to further exhaust your patience. But go ahead. That's how I thought. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Mr. Lennox, listen now. You telling me, right? After $600 billion and almost 10 years in this country, and this government have nothing to show for it. Absolutely nothing. And you know something? Because man, every time I think about these things, I just get vexed. When I hear people like Silenand speak, on the airwaves.
Yeah.
I just want to know if he leaves school in second standard, you know.
Of course.
The man is speaking in and use language that, you know, that code man, all come on, man. I know people elect all into office or even put all in office. Oh, go also I'm discussing all just get up with faces now. And you see that board? That board we want to get proposing that is a pay for the Prime Minister and all these people and them.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes they be wrong with these people, you know. Something had to be wrong with these people.
Yeah, definitely.
Then you can't tell me you don't know right from wrong.
Yeah.
And we still having these people in our faces. Look, this is just wicked, evil PNM government, you know, man. Rowley, let me tell all something. We fed up all, you know. We fed up all, you know. Let's just get up with pieces now. Call the elections on now, God, but we fed up. Hello, God bless, I gone.
Yes, my friend. Yes, my friend. I hear. One caller earlier, of course, talked about the frustration of people. That is what it is. It is about yearning to get them out of office. It's not being angry with the opposition. No, not at all. It is about the fact that when they look at what the opposition is doing and what the other forces are doing, and the multiple and manifold and numerous protests that are taking place across the country in all sectors and every sector, in every nook and cranny, and then you know, of course, that the people are saying, listen, Rowley, we cannot wait to exhale. Take your knees off of the throats of the population. You are asphyxiating the population. You are starving them of the oxygen and the opportunity to move forward. After all, we know we can live better. We must do better. And Kamala Prasad Bisesa and the UNC clearly are the ones that have demonstrated and, of course, will take us forward, having, of course, demonstrated that they have the plan, and they continue, of course, to commit themselves as true patriots to salvage that which you have caused to be destroyed. Having met a much better society and a much better economy in 2015. Let's go straight to the line. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Lennox, good night. Ken.
Good night to you, my friend. Good night to you. Yes, man.
Listen, when I was living in Trinidad,
yes,
when I was growing up, very young, right? Indian people. I'm talking about Indo-Indian people.
Yes.
They work hard in the lagoon, all about the place, to send the children to school.
Yes.
And they sacrifice, right? And to send them to university and they come out doctors and lawyers and whatever, right? I know that. I have some family did that. Relative of mine. They eat butter and bread, sacrifice themselves to send them children to school. I'm not going to say something because I will get a lashback.
No, man, this is about Frank talking.
Indo-Indian people.
Yeah.
Indian people did not study that. They study party, nice car, run women all about the place, have children all about the place. I don't mean all of them. Some of them, majority of them. And children making children. I'm talking about the African people. Right?
Yes.
And you could correct me if I want, you know, because I know that. And for Raleigh to talk about Indian people forging the certificate,
yeah,
what they don't have is unthinkable. You know, I have some nephews and nieces right now, university, have degrees and what degree and master degree and can't get a job. You know, right now, right as I speak. Right?
Yes.
So when people are talking about, it's not them fault. You know, it's who they grew up. It's how the parents raised them.
That's right.
And the parents raised them. I said, you know, all they want children and they sacrifice themselves. All these people sacrifice all these. the Indian people move lot sacrifice for the children. They want the children call better.
Right.
I don't mean all of them, and I mean also the other side. But they can't blame them because they go to school and them don't have education because they don't want it. They want to whine low, whine to the ground. They put out music right there, carnival coming. That's all they study. You know that, Lennox?
Of course, I'm aware of that. Why I think I'm talking so passionately because I want them to understand that they have to face reality, and once you face reality, then the process of rehabilitation must start. But if you continue to be lured by people like Rowley, teaching you and fomenting fake realities, by saying that the next side, they fake their certificate and so on, and that doesn't encourage you to learn. That doesn't encourage you at all. And then, of course, the way how they have dealt with the promotion or the recording of the results of the exam is a self-fulfilling, selfish and self-centered agenda of Rowley to try, of course, to have a self-fulfilling fantasy that is exactly what it is, because that is not the reality that is on the ground. The Indians are doing much better academically in Trinidad and Tobago, and even the schools, CIC and Fatima, and of course those schools in the north can't beat those schools in central and the south now. Let's not waste time.
No. Look at the majority. Limited. I meet a lot of people here, a lot of Indian, also a few African. They work in the hospitals, and the nurses, the doctors. Most of them are Indian people.
Yeah.
Most of them over here. Most of them.
Here too.
Lawyers too.
Here too, my friend. Here too.
And I can't understand that. Because Raleigh marshaled the African committee, because when he take away them laptop, because that was a good window for them.
A dangerous move, a backward move, a retrogressive
That's
move.
what loan with Kamala did for them. That's what to learn to upgrade their own self.
That's right.
To learn a lot.
Especially
And they was coming on.
Yeah.
No, you give them no choice, and they come way back. Some of them, Lennox is, I wouldn't say illiterate. I wouldn't go that far. Illiterate, I would say with slow learner.
Yeah.
So what happened there was the computer, laptop helped them.
Yeah. Well, I was a slow learner. I was a late bloomer. So I could tell you, because all whites in primary school, I mean, I used to fight up there to come second and second to last in tests. But of course, attitudinal change and get following the right company and so on, I'm able, of course, to move on. And I had to lecture tonight.
I didn't have laptop that time.
That's right.
I didn't have a laptop that time.
I had to lecture tonight to a young man tonight as to what is required in order to move forward, rather than, of course, playing the fool higher here, up in the sky, like if, of course, every grain of hair is a needle extended like them women eyelashes, and you're going to school with that. What the hell is that? Get down to your book, go to the library, go to somewhere quiet, if school is a noisy place for you, and get to the knowledge in your head, get to the exam room, do the exam, get the hell out, go to the next stage, and then go to work and study, and everything else will follow you.
Exactly. I mean, at your age and my time, your time.
Yes.
We didn't have no laptop.
No, I just tell them, I say, I wish I had that in my days.
No, we too.
Yeah.
You know how far I gone?
Yeah, wish.
But I didn't have that.
Yes.
Now easy, I'm quite informed. I'm not why, then he come and take away the laptop and take away all them things. You set back somebody didn't have a slow learning.
He don't care about him.
So they don't care.
But when I think
They messed them up.
yeah, when I think in
They get discouraged.
Yeah, when I think in the man is a Neanderthal and you don't understand the technology, you know, because in the beginning when he said that, he didn't say that his grandchildren were familiar with the technology, with the IT and the computers. So, you know, is at a PNM rally. I think it might have been in the last one for the local government. You know, he say that his children, his grandchildren, better than he, they have of course these devices and they could use it more. In other words, here it is, you want your grandchildren have devices, but persons who are much poorer than you take it away from them. I mean, what kind of beast in human form is this?
You know, and Lennox, you take that off of my mind now, off of my mouth, you know, because I was just committed to that, you know.
Yeah, man.
I was just committed because all these people here want better for the children and grandchildren, but you don't want better for Trinidad and Tobago children here.
Yes, of course.
You don't want better for somebody else, but you want for your own self, but not for them.
That's right. Mr. Tagarigua, hold on. We have a foreign call. Yes. So I know that you will give way. Go ahead.
You know,
yes.
What better for your own self? I was committed to that, you know.
Yes.
Because you want better for your own, so all the minister want better.
Everybody wants
studying different countries, studying university and thing, you know.
Yeah.
I'm telling you what I know, you know.
Yeah, but they have an elite
and their children, probably have children and grandchildren thing, living in Brooklyn, you know.
Hey, look at that. And he want good for all of them. But
and
they're
in school.
Yeah.
And they have all the devices. What nonsense he's talking about?
Of course. Take away devices from the poor people who cannot afford it. Take it away and then reintroducing it, but you must have a means test. You must have a means test, but it should go automatic. It doesn't matter because that is a device that is an imperative. It is indistinguishable from your educational pursuits. You have to have it. So give it to everybody. What's the problem? And more importantly, if you're serious, Trinidad and Tobago is a small place. Wi-Fi the entire place and have, of course, the recreational ground and the schools, etc. And have free Wi-Fi so people can go stay in their homes or go to the park and, of course, utilize the device in order to become abreast of the technology and therefore compete with the rest of the world. But no, this Neanderthal, this caveman, evil that, of course, has disgraced Trinidad and Tobago, is in the office and will not, of course, get the hell out by calling an election. Your time is up. You have reached the zenith and the determinants of the people's tolerance, and therefore get to hell out, call an election, Rowley.
I mean, let us look at it.
Go ahead.
I'm going to finish this now.
Yes.
Look at my 5-year-old granddaughter.
Yes.
I shame, but she could show me something in computer. I shame.
Yeah, of course. That's
5-year-old.
Yeah. You know how far Trinidad would have been if
5-year-old
Lennox continued with that policy.
I say, oh my God.
Yeah. That's how it is. Yeah, we were, but different time.
Because they on a device all the time. That teach them a lot.
That's right, exactly.
You know? So that is what I was telling you.
Yes.
You know, what he did with them children. God help them, man. That was special will help for him, then.
Yeah, it's
barbaric. Special will help for him.
Yeah, it's barbaric. It is evil. It is disgraceful. I mean, and it is totally something that no one will want to experience. The man is a hater.
Children, man, children. That's the future of the world.
Yeah.
Of the country.
He has
children supposed to teach up to.
Take it
away.
You
think you'll live forever?
Yeah. All right, my friend. I have for somebody else. Yes. Thanks very much for that intervention, my friend. Yeah. I always like to talk with that particular caller. I know that that has nothing to do with what that particular intervention he wants to make on our behalf. But that means, of course, Mr. Tagarigua, go ahead.
Well, yes, your talk does bring talk.
Yes, boy, yes. Your talk does bring talk. I agree.
I never know you used to come so road again, yes? Second to last and all this thing.
Yes.
I always come first by the house.
You just always come first? Yeah, I used to fight up for second. I used to fight up for second to last.
But, you say where you going, that's how they have to teach me again.
Yeah. Oh, the late bloomer, yeah. Only when I went to secondary school, I started to, of course,
I never knew that when I knew that, right?
Yeah.
But what I want to tell you is this. Louis Singh had said some time ago, Gaudi trying to create a Rwanda here.
A Rwanda?
Right? So this thing with India and Africa and thing within education business.
Oh, yes.
I remember Louis Singh wanted a similar thing.
Okay.
But Philip Alexander is a lot on WhatsApp. Right? And he said Indian people take coconut and coconut oil, chana and flour and create a national dish.
Yes. And then he said, what is so special about doubles? I heard him say that sometime.
Yes, and they make doubles with equilibrium in their pressure.
Yeah. And Equilum said, of course, that recalcitrant minority.
Yeah.
Yes. And
when Rowley asked in the parliament what's so important about them, right? And as you remember, Mr. Rima, they suppose that you come and tell them it's the national day you won't see it. Remember when he said what's so important about doubles?
Yes.
One of them in the opposition was supposed to tell them it's the national dish.
Yeah, Robert Dean, and everybody who comes here, they themselves, when they invite people, they invite them to eat a good doubles. Like Motley, like when they had the crime symposium, Motley, and I think one or two other persons that are of a higher distinguished position in the world, when they would have visited here. I think for Chogam here, yeah, of course, doubles is the national dish.
I'm telling you, boy, yeah, the don't realize really have it cooked.
Yeah.
So I remember when you're talking that I told Willie Singh.
Yes. Thanks very much for that update, because I wasn't aware of that. But you're right, as you rightly say, that is what education is all about. It builds. It's like a tower or a pyramid, and you one layer on top of the other and so on, and eventually, of course, you get there.
Boy, anyhow, I have one on here. I used to come forward right through.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, one on me. So
I
can only speak the truth, nothing but the truth. All right, my friend. Yeah, bye-bye. Pleasant good night. Welcome, of course, Miss Santa Cruz. Welcome.
Lennox, good night to you and to everybody. Lennox, I know it's a bit late, but we got back internet maybe about half an hour to quarter hour ago.
Where's a good thing I waited up for you? Well, I waited up for you then. I waited up for you.
Lennox, but you know why I had to call you?
Tell me.
When I heard you say that you used to come second to last in test.
Yes.
Lennox,
yes.
I said, no, Lennox, there's nothing like ambition.
Of course.
You see how you push yourself and what you are today.
That's right.
Right? And you know why I was in shock? Because Lennox, I never come lower than second. Right through secondary school, everything.
Right.
Never come lower than second. And I listed as big. You see, it has nothing like when you see you have ambition. That's and right. You see your parents, you have parents pushing your Lennox.
And you have the family support, and you have the
support,
neighborhood support.
That's right.
Yeah, you can move mountains.
And you did well, Lennox. Yeah. I'm very, very proud of you. But Lennox, before I go further, I want to send condolences to one of our chatters, Anselina Ramcharan, on the passing of her husband.
Yeah, I did that earlier as well. Yes. Yep. I was past that.
Yeah, because I didn't have internet, so I'm thinking, Lennox, I'm listening. By the time that I came on, I'm listening to you all concerning the education system.
Yes.
And it's such a shame. That Mrs. Pasabi Sessa had a vision for this country, because she always say education comes first, right? And it's the same thing with my children.
Yes.
Lennox, I told my children, you see, between 5 years when all they enter school and when all they take exams, those are my years.
That's right.
Those are not all your years, those are my years, right? And I sat with my children until the day they took CXC.
Right.
And they did well. They did very good, Lennox. And I told them, I said, later on, all they would thank me.
Of
right?
course,
Not
of
that I
course.
want thanks,
That is
but
the
only with
ultimate.
thanks.
Yeah. That's the ultimate. Yeah.
Yeah.
I read
And
only this evening. I read the attack in my own environment. Let me put it that way. But go ahead.
You're right. You just have to do that sometime, Lennox.
Yes.
You just have to do that sometimes, yes. And Hannah, she had a vision for this country that she was going to give the children, the standard 5 children, iPads or something like that.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Right. And the only vision Rowdy has had for this country was for himself, his friends, his finances, and his family, not for the people of this country. And the sooner that the people of this country realize that and do something about it, then we will start progressing. Because right now, nobody's progressing except those that are called belonging to Rowdy. Right? And one of your earlier callers said that these people defending the money that the SRC want to give them. And it's true, Lennox. They say he deserves it. What is Rowdy doing to deserve that raise increase? That pay increase?
That's the herd mentality.
What is he doing?
Herd mentality. They hear somebody say that and they should just follow. Yeah.
And his government give the URP workers $2. He get it. Look at how much he get it. And all you're talking about, he deserves that. Rowdy deserves nothing except to get out of office.
Right.
And Lennox, I want to say before I leave here tonight, I find the Salaries Review Commission should take over the job of the CPO. Because if they could negotiate to give Rowdy that kind of money, start negotiating for the rest of the country. You hear? Start negotiating for the rest of the people. It's true.
Yeah.
It's true, Lennox. Lennox, you take care now. And have a good night, and we'll chat again tomorrow.
Yes,
Take care.
Definitely. Of course, that was our external correspondent, Ms. Santa Cruz, of course, giving her two pence. People, I am in a bit of a quandary here. It is 22 minutes past 10 o'clock. I have not finished, of course, the whole question of Niquan, but I did put, of course, a video together. And then, of course, I just wanted to touch briefly the whole question of the sedition that was raised by Miss Arima. I want to say that piece of law is on the books. That is why police can charge persons with that. I agree with her that it's an obsolete law. It is one that is not or ought not to be pursued or exercised by the authorities, and they do it when they do use it. They use it for reasons merely to control or to show that that is on the books, and that therefore they can use it to maybe quell a particular situation, as in the case of Abu Bakr, as in the case of course of the head of the Tobago party, Watson Duke, as in the case of Watson Duke, and who again, I think a number of other persons. Yes, the former executive, I think, is secretary of the police, the Police Service Association. I think it's Michael Seals. Yes. All of them were subjected, of course, to that particular legislation, but it is obsolete, yes, but it is on the statute book, and therefore the police can use it under the Summary Offences Act, I think, and it may be an independent piece of legislation by itself. I have not looked at it, but I want to say that, and yes, it flies in the face of every democracy that has a respect for freedom of speech, and even freedom of movement, because clearly when one drills into some of the uses by the authorities of this piece of legislation, it shows that it was merely not as a consequence of an infringement as the law would provide, but it was merely a show of force. And I think the whole world will be, of course, aggrieved and certainly not in approval of that kind of abuse of that piece of legislation simply because it is on the books. So from that perspective, I want to agree with Ms. Arima. Of course, so the other thing I want to talk about, of course, is the whole question of Niquan. Well, I want to tell you that we are winding down, of course, the latter part, or should I say the conclusion part of this series. And I want to tell you tonight that, of course, it was Dr. Rowley. When, of course, the question was posed to him, I'm going to convert it to a video, not a video, but an audio tomorrow night. So I'm just going to read a piece of it so you get an appreciation. Rowley, government assisted Niquan in every way possible. And then, of course, it continues. Government has assisted in every way possible to ensure Niquan Energy is successful. The Prime Minister said on Thursday. Well, I want to tell Dr. Rowley that is insufficient. You cannot say you're talking about $175 million US in the case of Republic Bank, and a total of over 400 million US that was borrowed. The entire thing failed. You went and opened it. You said it is the only one of its kind in the Western Hemisphere and in the world, and therefore it was expected to bring. They have this fixation of about 500 million annually to the coffers of the country, apart from generating employment and, of course, satisfying some of the domestic needs of the products that are being or supposed to be produced by that Niquan, what I consider to be debacle, Niquan disaster, just as Balize House, of course. You know, I must bring in that. But the fact of the matter is that it has been a failure. And of course, 2 weeks after he opened it, it blew up. And of course, a week after that or so, it blew up again and killed someone. And of course, 2 weeks or 3 weeks after that, it was, of course, abandoned because, of course, all of the credit rating agencies and all of the business entities that would have invested in that particular venture. Incidentally, a comrade of Rowley, the man who, of course, got a telephone call from Donald Trump to his office here, and then, of course, Rowley trying to fool us and say he's so important that Donald Trump call him just so. Next thing we know is millions of dollars was paid to the person who organized that particular call for him. Let me just get his Gil. Yeah, the fellow name is Gil. And of course, he was rewarded now with this then potential, now of course existential disaster called Niquan. Where to find him now? We can. Dr. Rowley, in other words, cannot just simply say what he said. Let me just read it for you again. You mad or what, Rowley? You had to be mad. Government has assisted in every way possible to ensure Niquan Energy is successful. The Prime Minister said, and you want to done there? No, you have to account. You have to blast and resign. You have to find out, tell us where our monies went and why you did what you did and how you did it, because you cannot simply say that you provided money to them. You provided the gas, special gas supply and all of that. And now that it has turned out to be a failure, as so many other projects, whether plyboard that never existed, you want to say that you could simply just walk away as Prime Minister, who of course has to account to the public and the citizens and the taxpayers for their monies? No, Dr. Rowley, no. And let me just give you a teaser for tomorrow night. Let me just give you a teaser here so you will understand where we are going. That can be, you cannot just walk away. What kind of beast you are? You didn't even say that you will resign. You didn't even say how you will compensate us for that level of expenditure and investment.
Here the next thing. The PNM, when they enter that Balice house, they get a notebook, a secret notebook on how to thief the PNM way. And when you see Niquan, and you're hearing Niquan, Ainsley Gill, the PNM favored boy, but now they're trying to ditch he. They're leaving he alone because Niquan finally sink. It started at the World GTL in 2005, but right now, Niquan gone through, car produce nothing, car pay its bills, owing more than 346 million US, plus they have to pay a former PNM independent senator $21 million for firing he and they paying him. They still owing workers 6 months salary. They ain't selling nothing. They can't pay back the loan, and Republic Bank, I'm telling you, to the shareholders of Republic Bank, all you have to ask the board of directors, the CEO and the directors of Republic Bank, one, how did Niquan qualify? Niquan or Niquan, however all I want to pronounce it, don't blame the Douglas. I'm not Japanese, okay? How did Niquan qualify for 120 million US loan from Republic Bank?
And we pause there, people, of course. That's just a teaser. Tomorrow night, of course, we will start there. After, of course, we would sort of incorporate what Wade Mark was saying. And, of course, we had a very comprehensive analysis of the situation from, of course, Dave Tanku, the chairman of the UNC. But, of course, it's all in the context as to where we money gone. And we want it back, Rowley. Where we money gone and we want it back. And Niquan is one of the, what I consider to be the recipient or the receptacle of the bleeding, of the hemorrhage, or the hemorrhaged or hemorrhaging of our foreign exchange. Rowley is a wicked man. And you just believe you can say and walk away from it, having been given, of course, the responsibility by the population on whom their trust would have, of course, manifested in a way so as to give you that responsibility, and then, of course, you turn and perfidiously you betray them, and then you're saying what? Rowley, government assisted Niquan in every way possible to destroy us, to give away our money. The government has assisted in every possible, in every way possible to ensure Niquan Energy is successful. Well, my friend, that ain't good enough, you know. That ain't good enough, you know. And I want to tell those young men who have been deprived of their laptops, who have been deprived of food and the higher prices, who have not been given jobs, who were only told that somehow the Indians are taking those opportunities from you because of the fake the certificate and degrees, etc. I want to tell all you, check all yourself and understand that the viper, that the horns that must be checked, in spite of his bald head, is Rowley and his bunch of opportunistic political parasites. Have a wonderful rest of the night. Tomorrow night, of course, we will start with, of course, the conclusion of Niquan and why Rowley must pay, whether personally or otherwise. He cannot be so reckless. He cannot be so brutal. He cannot be so insensitive. He cannot be so conman-like. He cannot be so exhibiting of misbehavior in public office and reckless and of course, indolent and criminal in public office, in the office of Prime Minister, and believe that Prime Minister means that you could get away with anything. It's over $400 million US you're talking about here, and of course from Republic Bank alone is 175. Of course, my friend Anil got it wrong. He say 120. I think it's more 175 million from the Republic Bank. Whichever it is, that is a huge sum that Rowley is simply could walk away from it and say what? They did all what was possible to make them successful, and now that they have failed. Where is the money, Rowley? How are you getting back our money? Where is the money, Rowley? And tonight, of course, I cannot end, of course, with anything but to decry and to, of course, indict Rowley for his evil. And therefore, we have to, of course, forego any Christmas closure. And, of course, tell Rowley as it is, because he's a blasted thief. He's a pedophile and rapist. He is evil. He is wicked, diabolical, and of course has no place in the politics of Trinidad and Tobago in the first place. So damn the PNM. Damn the PNM. Damn the PNM.
This is Massive Cosine, and I'm giving you an account. Rowley man account. Rowley man account. Rowley man account. Rowley man account.
Yes, people, of course, we have come to the end of tonight's program. Don't forget, of course, tomorrow morning, Andy, Michael, and myself, as we continue, of course, with these and other issues, dealing with, of course, the contemporary Trinidad and the Tobago and the evil that has stalked the land. Toxic, evil, wicked, diabolical, and of course pernicious to the existence of our civilization called Trinidad and Tobago. Have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless. Bye-bye.
Everything for his son. All the Piper Stephen and doing what they want. Forcing Rowley mother to take an account. All the pepper on the tree. All the pagan and the body. The plantain, the cucumber. The pumpkin, the sapoca. Even all the okra that turn every month. Rowley mother, Rowley mother, Rowley mother. Tell Rowley she don't know what to do, but what she really didn't know, he was thieving too. The boy had been thieving since he was very small, involved in corruption and all kind of bubble. So Rowley mother decided to do some checking, but anytime she checked, things still missing. Sweet potato and cassava, broccoli and cauliflower, the pawpaw and the mango. Passion fruit that bearing every month. Rowley mother, Rowley mother, Rowley mother account. Rowley mother planting.
Here the next thing. The PNM, when they enter that Balise house, they get a notebook, a secret notebook, on how to thief the PNM way. And when you see Niquan, and you're hearing Niquan, Ainsley, Gill, the PNM favored boy, but now they're trying to ditch he. They're leaving he alone because Niquan finally sink. It started at the World GTL in 2005, but right now, Niquan gone through, car produce nothing, car pay its bills, owing more than 346 million US, plus they have to pay a former PNM independent senator $21 million for firing he and they paying him. They still owing workers 6 months salary. They ain't selling nothing. They can't pay back the loan, and Republic Bank, I'm telling you, to the shareholders of Republic Bank, all you have to ask the board of directors, the CEO and the directors of Republic Bank, one, how did Niquan qualify? Niquan or Niquan, however all I want to pronounce it, don't blame the Douglas. I'm not Japanese, okay? How did Niquan qualify for 120 million US loan from Republic Bank and a judge in relation to other obligations?
Gas the liquid plant under the PNM government, I believe, of Mr. Manning, that included Dr. Rowley. That cost in a deal the cost of that plant moved from $165 million US to $400 million US with cost overruns under Ken Julian, Malcolm Jones, and one Lenny Sate. That project moved from 165 million US to 400 million US. 7 4s, 28. So 2.8 billion Trinidad and Tobago dollars for a plant that collapsed, the financing collapsed. When the international partners didn't want to pay back the loan, Petrotrin had to pay back the loan, and Petrotrin had to pay between the loan and the interest almost $5 billion, and that crashed Petrotrin and the energy sector in Trinidad and Tobago under a Manning administration. Dr. Rowley comes now, we closed down the refinery, they mothballed the refinery. You know now they're mothballing Niquan? Why don't they mothball the PNM? I think we should mothball the PNM.